Hello, my name is Kristopher Bedka. I'm a scientist working at the NASA Langley Research Center. So first of all, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what a geostationary satellite is. And so you're seeing in this video here two different satellites that are orbiting the Earth quite differently. One is primarily going from left to right, and so that is a geostationary satellite, which stays over the same longitude location over the equator and takes repeated views of the same spot over the Earth. And so we're used to this data. We see it all the time on our weather broadcasts. They show the clouds moving into our region. And so you need these repeated observations in order to be able to collect those animations. The other type of view from satellites is the north-south orbiting satellite here, which is called a polar orbiter. And so that satellite moves north to south, from the South Pole to the North Pole, takes pictures of the Earth as the Earth rotates beneath it. And so you only get about 2 observations per day from polar orbiters, where you can get many, many more over a given spot from geostationary. Just a little bit more about geostationary satellite observations. What these do is so geostationary satellites are viewing the Earth in many different wavelengths. And so what I'm showing you here is 16 different wavelengths observed by one of our couple of our satellites, GOES 16 and GOES 17. And so they take these repeated pictures of clouds and weather about every 10 to 15 minutes on average for most satellites across the globe. These images are composed of pixels. And so every pixel is spaced about half a mile to about 3 miles apart, depending upon the wavelength that's being collected by the satellite. And so you can see that there's lots of colors and gray images appearing here. So this is 6 hours worth of data. And so the top row and a couple images in the second row there, those are images of sunlight that's being reflected off of clouds and clear sky, ocean and land regions. Whereas the colorized images, and we colorize them so that we can see the data better and look for important features like clouds and other weather phenomena. And so that's data in infrared wavelengths. So we're measuring the heat emitted from clouds and the Earth's surface. And so each of these wavelengths were selected by scientists to capture unique properties of clouds, water vapor in the atmosphere, or other gases that are important for understanding weather and climate. And so just to kind of give you an idea of more detailed observations here, so this is data of that reflected sunlight off of clouds, and you can see that there's some gray areas and then some white areas. And so the grayish areas are where we have clear sky, and then the white areas, you might say, oh, those are all clouds. Well, not necessarily so. You see some features moving and other features that are still. And so the moving features are clouds, but the still white areas is snow cover. And so we really require these multiple wavelengths of data here. So here I'm combining multiple different wavelengths, colorizing the image in a unique way so that snow, for example, happens to appear green with how I've colorized the images here. And then other cloud types like water clouds are appearing blue, ice clouds are appearing kind of orangish. And so at NASA, we've taken all of this multi-wavelength data together and come up with state-of-the-art automated ways to find out where clouds are located and then compute how, for example, how high and thick the clouds are and maybe where some of the most hazardous weather conditions are occurring, like aircraft icing or turbulence or severe weather like hail, damaging winds, or tornadoes. And so being able to have this knowledge is really, really important for weather forecasting and also understanding the Earth's climate system. For example, on days where you have really, really thick clouds, those days are often colder because you're not getting as much sunlight reaching the surface. Whereas when you have very thin clouds or no clouds at all, those days are typically sunny and warmer. All of this cloud information we need to really understand the Earth's weather and climate system. And so just to kind of give you an idea of what our products look like, so we have on the right, we have our algorithms tell us where ice clouds are in red, and water clouds in blue, and clouds that are kind of in the middle. We call them supercooled water clouds in this light blue color. Whereas on the left, you can see there's a whole variety of cloud heights. So the red and orange are really, really high clouds, and whereas the blues and the purples are low clouds. So all of this data is really important to weather forecasters, weather prediction models, and also climate researchers as well. So my particular area of expertise at NASA Langley is using data collected by geostationary satellites to study severe storms. Storms, like I mentioned, that produce damaging wind, tornadoes, hail, aircraft icing, turbulence, all these really dangerous phenomena that we need to be able to predict as best as possible. And so you see that is a picture of a what we call a supercell thunderstorm, a really, really severe storm from the ground. And you can see the rain and hail coming out from the bottom of this scary looking cloud. Whereas if you were to fly from an airplane nearby to one of these clouds, this is what it would look like. And so you see basically a column of rapidly rising air that produces a bump on top of the cloud, and then what we call an anvil cloud that's streaming off to the right. Now from the space station, we're getting higher and higher above the clouds there. So this is about 250 miles above the Earth, and you're starting to see the cloud top texture. So you don't see the bottom of the cloud quite so well, but you see the tops of the clouds much better because you're viewing it from so far away. And then from geostationary orbit, this is the type of view that you'd get from the top of a severe thunderstorm. So you're no longer able to see the bottom of the clouds really anymore, but you're able to see the detailed patterns within the cloud top. They're actually very, very important for identifying severe storms. So here I'm showing you some colorized geostationary satellite imagery. So here we're taking the infrared data, colorizing it to make important features for severe storm forecasting appear in certain colors, and we're overlaying it on the visible reflected sunlight imagery. And so NASA is using this geostationary satellite data to study severe thunderstorms. And the reason that we do this is that we can find patterns in this imagery that are very important for forecasters to be aware of so that they can better use this data to issue severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings or flash flood warnings for the public to keep you informed and keep you safe. Another thing that we do with this data is that we process it over long time periods to better understand when and where severe storms occur most frequently across the globe. And so patterns within the cloud top, so I've stopped the movie here and I'm showing you patterns. So this very deep red area, this is where you have very cold temperatures. So these cold temperatures are caused by this thunderstorm updraft reaching all the way up through the troposphere, which is the layer of the atmosphere that we live in, and up into the layer above us called the stratosphere. And then these storms also inject cirrus clouds into the stratosphere, and those clouds you can see appear with a different temperature. And so seeing this cold temperatures next to the warm temperatures and different textures in the cloud top tell us that this particular storm is very likely to be severe and to produce hail, damaging winds, tornadoes, flash flooding, or a variety of other weather hazards. I appreciate you listening to our uses of geostationary weather satellite data to study the atmosphere and the Earth's weather and climate, and I hope that you learned a lot. Thank you.